This young lady is determined to beat the boys.
I want to, get that title and take it away from Doug. He's been up there too much.
Amy Ruman is 2 for 2 this season. She's proven she belongs in victory lane. Amy leads a field of America's finest road racing talents around the twisting turns of Road Atlanta. Trans Am, America's Road Racing Series, is coming up next. Welcome to Road Atlanta. We're in Brazelton, Georgia for coverage of Trans Am, America's Road Racing Series, here on the CBS Sports Network. Today, the Fometics Trans Am 100. Hello again, everyone. I'm Rick Benjamin. NASCAR star Michael McDowell will join me for the call in a couple of moments. Shea Adam has our coverage today down on pit road. It's already been a record-setting weekend for Trans Am. More than 75 cars entered across the 3 categories of Trans Am racing. And for the first time this season, we'll see Trans Am 2 as its own separate event later on. Today, Trans Am and Trans Am 3, both American Muscle and American International. Some great storylines. Trans Am points leader Amy Ruman going for her first title as won the first 2 rounds of this season at Sebring, which we showed you earlier, and at Homestead a couple of weeks ago. In Trans Am 3, Todd Napierowski trying to add to his amazing record so far this year. Ernie Francis Jr., who's been so strong in this series to this point, has really struggled so far in 2015. Let's get some updates from pit road. Downstairs to Shea.
The pole sitter for this race is Paul Fix. Paul, you're in a beautiful Corvette. Starting from the front, you're second in points, and the points leader is right behind you. What do you have to do to keep Amy Ruman in the second place?
Well, I'm going to do like I've always done in years past and races past. I'm going to set a great pace at first, mind my tires, and let them come to me. Then hold off, and we'll see what happens at the end of the race.
It's been a great start of the year for you so far. What do you need to do to keep that momentum going?
Yeah, second points tied right now. I've had 2 podiums already, which are fantastic. And we're just going to carry the momentum through the rest of the year. Our intentions are to win the championship, and that's why I'm sitting pole position.
Best of luck.
Thank you very much.
Paul Fix will start from the pole in the Stop Flex 4 car. That's one of the Tony Ave built machines in front of a great crowd here at Road Atlanta. Michael McDowell, you've been around this place many times. How cool is this racetrack?
Oh, it's an amazing racetrack. One of the greatest road courses in North America. Just a lot of fun, and especially in these Trans Am cars, you have the S's. It's very technical. You have to position the car right in the right spot. So these Trans Am cars are going to be very technical around this course.
358 cubic inches, about 800 plus horsepower, about a 3-second 0 to 60 time.
That's getting with it.
No question about it. Composite Mustangs and Corvettes primarily in Trans Am. We'll see Trans Am 3, American Muscle, and International a little bit later on as well. They're part of the show here today at Road Atlanta as the Trans Am machines move off of pit road and start to grid up behind the safety car. We met Paul Fix a moment ago. He's the pole sitter. Amy Ruman starts alongside in the 23. She's the points leader, 2 for 2 on the season.
Yeah, Amy's been strong all season long. I'm sure we're going to see that speed out of her again today.
Joseph Frieda starts in the 5th row with Claudio Burton, the principal of Fometics, our event sponsor, in car number 7. Denny Lamers out of Wisconsin in the Mustang, the 66. Tom Ellis, Richard Grant in the 30. Kenny Buff in the 3, who's been doing this a long time, and the rest of the field. Now, Trans Am 3, TA3A, TA3I coming out onto the racetrack as well. We saw Lee Saunders, TA3I. This is the international category. You've got the best of the international brands plus Vipers and Corvettes.
Yeah, very different class than TA, obviously. A variety of cars. We've got BMW, Porsche, Ferrari, Viper, Corvette. So many cool cars out there on the track at one time.
Your TA3 International starting lineup, Randy Mueller on the pole in the 0. Russ Snow, the veteran from North Carolina, in his Corvette, car number 20. Lee Saunders in that Viper has won at Sebring already this year, and Jerry Green, Milton Grant of the 55, and John Guttleber. Clint Sawinski and Jason Berkeley in row number 4 in TA3 International. Now, TA3 American Muscle, Mike, Mustangs, Camaros, Challengers, and limited horsepower.
Yeah, it's a really cool class, and what they've done is there's a lot of different engines, a lot of different manufacturers, but they've limited that horsepower to that 380-430 range just to keep the cars as close as possible.
Young Ernie Francis Jr., the defending champion of the 98 in TA3 American. He'll be on the pole with Todd Napierowski alongside. That should be a great battle. Ellis in the 0, DeSalvo, Jason Victor, Tim Rubright, Mel Shaw will make up row number 5 in TA3 American.
Ernie Francis Jr., youngest Trans Am champion ever, but this year hasn't been going the way you've hoped. What do you have to do today to to make it back to that top step of the podium?
We just have to try and run a consistent race out there. These last couple of races, we just had some bad luck that's taken us out of them. But we have a fast car, and the team really has put together a good car. And I think as long as it holds together out on the track, we should have a good race.
TA3 is an uber competitive class. Who's your biggest competition this weekend?
My biggest competition is going to be Todd Naparowski and Thomas Ellis. They're a little ways behind me, but they're ahead of me in the points because of the last couple of races, so I'm looking to try and get ahead of them.
Field coming out under the bridge, heading to the final corner here at Road Atlanta. Coming to the green, Trans Am will start first. TA3 American and International will trail by 30 seconds. Green flag is in the air. We're underway at Road Atlanta. Amy Roman on the outside trying to grab the lead down into one, Michael McDowell, but Paul Fix was quicker.
Yeah, definitely. And what happens is once you get to the top of turn 1, everything gets very narrow. So you want to get it single file and sorted out before you get up into turn 2.
Russ Snow and Randy Mueller in that BMW M3 on the front row for TA3 as they come under the green flag and hammer toward turn 1.
Yeah, same thing. You want to get single file, get your passes done. Once you get down those S's, there's a lot of curves and there's not a lot of room for error. So you want to make sure you have your car in control and you know exactly where you're positioned when you head down those S's.
On board with Lee Saunders in the 84. That's that Dodge Viper. Saunders, the winner of TA3 back at Sebring in the month of March. Our first telecast of the season here on CBS Sports Network. Heading to the S's. You were talking about the track narrowing up here.
Oh, what a cool shot. Shows the elevation. The TV does not do justice for how much elevation there is at Road Atlanta. A lot of blind corners. Corners you get to the top, you don't know whether you need to go left or right and how to position your car. It's a very, very fun experience driving around Road Atlanta.
Now the backstretch down to the S, the left-hand 90, then uphill under the bridge. This is a pretty high-speed section as you come to this corner.
Yeah, it's the top speed of the racetrack, but a hard braking zone as well. You got to get the car wound up before you go back up the hill.
John Baca, meantime, on the gas, coming to the final corner here. He is third. Cliff Evan in that white Mustang is fourth. Fifth belongs to the defending champion, Doug Peterson, in the 87, the three-dimensionalservices.com machine. And the Stop Flex 4 of Paul Fix continuing to lead, but Amy Ruman is right with him.
Yeah, Amy's putting the pressure on Paul for sure. And it's early in the race, so we still got a lot of time to battle here. We got a lot of new things happening in Trans Am Series. At Road Atlanta, Hoosier brought a new tire, so we don't know how long these tires are going to last, how the fall-off's going to be. Around the pit, everybody was talking about how good and how consistent the tire was. But this is the first time that we're going to run multiple laps on these Hoosier tires.
On board with Paul Fix. High temperatures at Road Atlanta. Fix is your leader.
Trans Am Racing on CBS Sports Network is being brought to you by Three Dimensional Services Group. Prototype, production, proven. And by Foametics. If it isn't green in color, it isn't Foametics. That's how you know it's Foametics, the Energy Smart Insulation Solution.
Welcome back to Road Atlanta, coverage of Trans Am, America's Road Racing Series on the CBS Sports Network. I'm Rick Benjamin, Michael McDowell is alongside Shea Adam with our coverage on pit road of the Foametics Trans Am 100. Still early in the going, up the backstretch here in TA3. This is Todd Napierowski in the 39, qualified toward the front of the pack and having a very good day so far.
Yeah, and these are great onboard shots. I always enjoy this. Obviously, being a driver myself, I like to see this perspective. Down low, you can see the corners, but Amy is applying a lot of pressure to Paul right now.
One of our Replay XD onboard looks as Amy Ruman tries to draw in on pole sitter Paul Fix, who's led the first handful of laps here today.
And this is a great opportunity to pass. We got a little bit of traffic. This leads on to the long straightaway. Get a little bit of a draft here. Get down in the brake zone for turn 9. See if Amy can pull off the pass.
Try to make an inside move, maybe?
Yeah, definitely. And it's hard at Road Atlanta because what happens, you get to the top of the hill, it crests to the right. So you can run a defensive line until you get to that brake zone. But Paul has got some steam there. Amy not able to close in down the straightaways.
Paul Fix driving a Tony Ave prepared machine, car number 4. Holding on by a couple of car lengths, heading under the bridge to put another lap on the board here at Road Atlanta. 2 Corvettes pacing the field here this afternoon. The sound of 830, 840 horsepower in the Trans Am Series, America's Road Racing Series. If you're wondering where TA2 is in this event, well, they're here this weekend also. More than 35 TA2 cars. They'll run their own separate race, the Foametics Muscle Car Challenge. We'll have coverage of that for you coming up. Oh, in trouble. Paul Fix off into the grass, headed up toward the S's.
Yeah, Paul just got into turn 2 a little bit deep. Looked like he might have locked up a front tire there, slid wide, left the opportunity for Amy to get around.
So Amy Ruman capitalizes, staying on the road, which is one of the goals in road course racing, of course, and she moves out to about a dozen car length advantage over Fix. Here's another look at what happened. Wow, look at that, he locked him up.
Yeah, and what happens there, you're getting to the top of the hill, turn 2, and then it starts to crest down. And when it transitions from the top, as it starts to go down, that tire gets light. Very easy to lock up a tire.
Amy working her way now through some of the TA3 machinery here at Road Atlanta. Oh, onto the grass to do that. That is not a recommended move.
Now that's 4 wide down the straightaway at 180 miles an hour. Amy was not rolling out of the gas at all. That was very exciting right there.
Amy Ruman clearing the traffic, and that gives her a lot of advantage over Fix because he's got to work his way through these slower cars during the corner.
And it pays off to be aggressive in traffic. You got to manage the risk versus the reward. But right now, Amy can open up a big gap just by pushing it a little bit farther into the corners.
Here comes Doug Peterson, meantime, in the 87, the three-dimensional services machine. Out of the front straightaway, working by some of the TA3 cars, the former series champ, heading toward turn number 1.
And you can see the speed differential between the 2 categories. Timing your passes is very critical here at Road Atlanta. It gets very narrow at times, but the cars have such a different speed differential that you have to be precise when you make those passes.
On board with Cliff Eben, running now behind John Baucom, trying to navigate through the S's as well. Doug Peterson, we saw his car a moment ago, the 87. He is on the move, qualified 5th. He's up to 3rd now and trying to draw a bead on Paul Fix. It's been kind of a work in progress this weekend for Peterson so far.
Yeah, you know, really, we've been working on race setup the whole weekend. We really haven't had a lot of practice time. And so I think my car in the race is going to be awesome. It might be the last 10, 12 laps, but I'm moving up.
And what's your strategy to do that?
Well, to stay out of trouble a little bit. You know, I was hit at Homestead and spun out on like the 3rd or 4th lap, which was really unfortunate. But I want to stay out of trouble and then pick these guys off one at a time.
So Peterson trying to work his way up, and he's done that. A couple of passes here in the first 5 laps.
And I like Doug's confidence there. He's going to work his way up. I love that.
Well, when you've won a couple of championships in any category, that does give you a lot of confidence coming into a race weekend as we watch Amy Ruman continue to run at the front.
Yeah, speaking of confidence, Amy has it right now. She's working through that traffic.
My power's so bad, I've had to change all my shift points. I've had to change all of my shift points, no power.
Doug Peterson talking to his crew on the radio there. Something new in our coverage this weekend. Michael McDowell saying, hey, the engine's laying down.
And that gives us great insight. You know, we don't know what's going on behind the wheel, and obviously Doug is having some sort of power plant problem. We don't know what that is, but what he was talking about is he's having to move his shift points, and the reason he's moving his shift points is because the car's just not getting to that point fast enough. So, you know, unfortunate for Doug. See how he manages the race, and hopefully he can get to the end and salvage some points.
Does that mean you're downshifting later or upshifting earlier or both?
You know, a lot of times when you're talking about your shifts, it's really the rhythm that you get into. You know your points, and you get into this rhythm, and then when something happens, it gets you out of sorts. So he might have to be down a gear more going into the corner. So instead of using 3rd, he's using 2nd and having to shift sooner, and all these things are happening that get you out of rhythm.
Lee Saunders in TA3 International, right behind him, Ernie Francis Jr. in TA3 American. Good battling at the front of the category here. Saunders, our winner in this class at Sebring back in the month of March, doing a very nice job here today at Road Atlanta. A Viper on this place ought to be pretty entertaining too.
Yeah, and these are great cars, fun to watch. I mean, what's cool about them is you can see the ride heights are up a little bit more. The tires are sliding around. You can actually hear them squeal at times. You know, the Trans Am cars, the TA cars have a lot of downforce, a lot of power, a lot of tire. These TA3 cars, you know, are more of a production car. So the tires, the brakes, everything is just a little bit less than a Trans Am car, but still a lot of fun to drive. And it puts some of the driving actually in the driver's hand, which is fun to watch.
Absolutely. Saunders doing a nice job heading to the S's. That was Ruman, who flashed by in the 23 car, continuing to lead overall and dominating at the moment, on her way perhaps to her 3rd consecutive victory. TA3, meantime, good battle there. Francis right up behind Saunders. And one of our Trans Am competitors is on pit road with the front bodywork off. That's the veteran Kenny Bupp, down to Shea.
The front engine cover of the number 3 Kenny Bupp's car has come off. Kenny has 2 DNFs here in the last 2 years. If the crew can't get things fixed, it'll be 3 in a row for Kenny Bupp. His lucky number 3, not so much today.
All right, we'll see if Kenny Bupp's crew can get that Camaro back on the racetrack. Saunders in the 84 continuing to run at the front of TA3 International here at Road Atlanta in the Fometics Trans Am 100. Today there's Peterson going by as he chips away at Paul Fix's advantage in 2nd spot.
Yeah, obviously the motor problems aren't as severe as maybe we thought, because Doug's still running very competitive times and reeling in Paul there.
Russ Snow in the 20 car with a problem off into the grass, a tough part of the racetrack here at Road Atlanta. TA3 International led by Randy Mueller, and that BMW Saunders runs second in front of Berkeley and Jerry Green. We'll be back. Back at Road Atlanta, the Trans Am Racing Series, the Fometics Trans Am 100, trouble on pit road.
Alan Lewis has made his way down on pit lane, missing a key part of his car. The hood is gone. That is not deterring him from keeping going. Alan, who is a relative newcomer to the Trans Am Series, has 2 top 5s in his career. He was hoping to make it 3 today. That does not look likely.
Alan Lewis from Ontario, Canada in troubles. Mel Shaw has spun the 22 car, the Bay Commercial Group Mustang in TA3 American. And Mel with some problems here, evidently. Michael McDowell, as he is going to coast, it looks like, off to the right-hand side of the road in the S's.
Yeah, it sounds like he just lost power there. Not sure what exactly happened, but yeah, interesting to see. You know, we don't know from this shot, but hopefully Mel will get back out there.
Russ Snow up ahead, meantime. His Corvette off course as well. Looks like he may be done for the day. He was the pole sitter in TA3 International. Meantime, David Pintarek and the 03 of Jim McAleese battling for position in Trans Am in front of the TA3 International car of Jerry Green, the 93. Out of Minnesota, one of the Porsches in the field. Cliff Evan leading this group up the hill. Simon Gregg, who is so strong, and one of Jim Durock's Chevrolets, that beautiful new C7R bodywork. Simon having trouble finding pace here today.
Well, we don't have a battle for the lead, but we got a great battle here in Trans Am. I mean, these guys are fighting hard. We're a few laps into the race. Now is when we're going to see, you know, where the cars, who's handling well, and who's able to put the power down. You know, the tires, like we mentioned, this is a new tire for us, so we will finally get to see what these Trans Am Hoosier tires will fall off.
Ty Napierowski, meantime, on the 39 car, one of our contenders today at TA3 American, trying to chase down Ernie Francis. That's his Camaro up front as he moves over to allow some of the TA cars a little faster route into the final corner. This right-hander at Road Atlanta, one of the most challenging road course turns in North America.
You call it challenging, I call it scary. It is super fast. You come downhill, you even have that light sensation like you do on a roller coaster, and then all of a sudden the car loads up and compresses. It's a very, very tricky corner.
5th, 6th, 7th, 8th in play in Trans Am. Cliff Evan in the Mustang, the white 36, runs 5th in front of Simon Gregg. Let's get on board with Claudio Burton, car number 7. He's the Fometics principal, brand new race car this season. Claudio back in the series. Great to have him here in his company, sponsoring a couple of events this season for us as well. Driver with a lot of experience. Maybe not quite as happy as he'd like to be with this brand new race car as he returns to full-time competition in Trans Am and the big bore race cars. We spoke to him earlier.
You know, these are long races. Sometimes there's attrition. We're a little down on power right now on the car, so do the best we can, see what happens.
It's a bit warm out today. How is that factoring into the way that you expect the car to handle?
Well, I wish I had some Fometics insulation in this car, keep it cool in there, but usually the track will get a little greasy, a little slippery, and the cars that are handling the best should be there at the end.
Handling is critical in these cars.
And Road Atlanta gets slick. Like we mentioned, the racetrack is getting hot, but more importantly, this track gets rubber. You can see the black just laid down. And what happens? The oil comes out of the rubber, gets very slick. It looks like Claudio actually has a problem here.
The 7 car of Claudio Burton definitely off the pace in the S's, and some steam, it looks like, out of the left front corner of that car.
You can hear him nursing something, not sure. The motor sounds like it's still running, so it might just be a tire down or even a suspension problem.
Car sailing by Burton in the 7. Could be overheating possibly as well.
Yeah, we'll have to wait till he limps that car back to the pits and get an update of what happened.
So Claudio Burton off the pace in the 7. He had a top 10 run going here today, but it does not look as though he'll be around at speed for the finish. Maybe he's got just a tire down on the left front.
It did look like that. As he was going through turn 6 there, the car obviously did not want to turn. Looks like he's got a left front tire down. And what happens there, you got to be very cautious, because if you try to keep that pace up going down the straightaway, the tire can come apart and rip up the bodywork. So he's doing a very good job of trying to nurse this back to the pits, get that tire changed, and get back out on the racetrack.
Claudio Burton taking it easy here down the backstretch at Road Atlanta. Again, we mentioned a very hot day, and Hoosier bringing a brand new tire here this weekend. And there can be some changes. You may have not enough tire pressure or too much tire pressure when you go out to run.
Well, and what happens here at Road Atlanta more than that is actually...
Whoa! Looks like something came apart on the 7 car.
That might be that tire finally letting go. You know, there's a lot of curbs here, and we also see a lot of dirt on the racetrack. And if you get up over the curb, it's very easy to get a puncture in a tire.
TA3 International, meantime, the leader continues to be Randy Mueller and that epic BMW M3, rookie this season in Trans Am out of Miami, doing a very nice job with 15 laps on the board. Some TA3 machines working the S's here, and here's Mueller continuing to run out in front. Doug Peterson, meantime, in the 87, trying to get closer to the leaders in Trans Am. Mueller has led all the way so far in TA3 International. On board with Doug Peterson, you get a sense of that speed differential, Michael, that you were talking about earlier.
And it's really, like I mentioned, just timing that pass. It's hard to make those passes going down in the S's, so you wait till you can get straight. You can put all that power down in that Trans Am car and make those passes.
And when you're battling somebody else and working slower traffic like that, that is the difference a lot of times between winning and just losing a ton of racetrack.
Yeah, how you navigate it is critical, but also there's just timing involved. Is sometimes you just get it wrong. You come up over the crest, there's 4 or 5 cars, you just have nowhere to go. So there's luck involved in that as well. It's not just how you position it, but hopefully timing-wise you catch them at the right spot.
Peterson headed down the hill toward the final couple of corners here at Road Atlanta. Here comes Mueller in that BMW. Good-looking race car out of Miami, Florida. First time we've seen him in Trans Am this season, doing a very nice job qualifying on the pole in that car. Now here comes Saunders in the Viper, who was so good and got to victory lane at Sebring. At the moment, as he runs second behind Mueller, he hasn't really been able to put any pressure on the leader. John Bauckham, meantime, in his Trans Am Mustang out of Charlotte, North Carolina. The 86 car moving by, running it all by himself. Had a top 5 run going earlier as well.
And it's fun just to sit back and listen to these onboards. A very cool shot that we have from the Viper here from Saunders. But as we go into turn 1 here, you can see you're just climbing straight up this hill. And as you get to turn 2, it's blind. You can't see anything. And this is where it's very easy to make a mistake. We've seen 2 cars already slide off wide there. So a very cool part of the racetrack as you head down the S's. A lot of traffic. You know, Road Atlanta, me watching this race just makes me want to be out there. I love this place.
TA3 cars coming up the hill. Cliff Eben in his Trans Am Mustang trying to navigate the slower traffic. Peter Gregg's son Simon and David Pintarek going on by.
That was a perfect example of getting it wrong. That's just timing it wrong. He went for the pass, and what he had to do is just actually hold those guys back. And as you can see, business is picked up there. This is a lot of traffic happening all at once. It's great racing. But that's what's fun, is the traffic makes it interesting.
Oh, trouble. Randy Mueller, our TA3 International leader, off course at the final right-hander before you come up the backstretch. No indication of anything wrong. He just pulls behind the wall.
Oh, man, and having such a great run, too, leading his class. Very unfortunate. Don't know what happened, but, you know, we saw him pull to the side there. Thought maybe he was giving room to the Trans Am traffic, but it looks like he does have a terminal problem.
Tough break indeed for the pole sitter in the category, Randy Mueller, who led all the way. This is lap 17. He gives up the top spot here, and Saunders will take advantage.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking. You know, you have such a dominant race like that. The race is in your hands, and you know, something mechanically breaks. It's tough, but it's also nice to have the speed and to be challenging for wins. So they'll be back.
So Saunders in the Viper inherits the lead. Ernie Francis Jr. continues to lead TA3 American Muscle in that black and orange Camaro, headed up toward the S's here at Road Atlanta. Meantime, it's Amy Ruhlman out in front. Paul Fix, Peterson, Bauckham, and Cliff Eben as Amy goes for 3 in a row.
Trans Am Racing on CBS Sports Network is being brought to you by Racing Electronics, #1 in race communications worldwide. And by Replay XD. The new Prime X is here. Record, replay.
Back at Road Atlanta, and problems for Claudio Burton, Michael McDowell. It's not supposed to do that, is it?
No, it's not supposed to do that at all. It looks like a lower control arm or something in the left front suspension broke there.
Claudio Burton pulling off the racetrack, not just a tire issue. Shea Adam has Claudio on pit road.
Well, Claudio Burton, this is not the way we wanted to see your weekend end. We've seen the damage, but what happened from your point of view?
Well, something failed in the front left suspension. It cut a hole right through the tire, as you can see right here. So it was kind of a progressive thing. Last 2 or 3 laps, the car just wouldn't turn in properly, and I knew something was wrong. I was trying to figure it out, and then something in the suspension failed.
Looks like it cut that rim, Michael McDowell.
Yeah, which tells me that something completely failed or a bolt backed out. It would take a lot to cut that wheel like we just saw. So a major failure on that suspension.
Certainly could have happened in a worse place for Claudio Burton. He was able to get off to the side of the racetrack and bring that car safely to pit road. On board, meantime, with Paul Fix, our pole sitter, who had an issue earlier, is back at speed now, trying to chase down race leader Amy Ruhlman, not having a whole lot of success with it.
Amy's really put on a dominant performance. We haven't talked about her a lot. It's just because there's not been a lot of racing up front. She's been dominating this race. And for a race car driver, these are the best race. For a fan, you want to see racing action, but Amy is enjoying being out front and not having a lot of challengers.
Danny Lamers has moved up 5 positions out of Wisconsin in his 66. Teammate to Cliff Evans, 36. Running toward the top 5 earlier. Denny, an amateur racer of long standing in the SCCA ranks, moving into pro racing in Trans Am a couple of seasons ago and getting better and better and better as he's got more experience.
And this is a lot of car to jump into. The Trans Am car, a lot of tire, a lot of brakes, big engine, lots of horsepower. So this is not your average race car that you just jump into. This is a full-fledged fire-breathing dragon that is hard to tame. So very hard to jump into this Trans Am series and be competitive like he is.
One of the drivers who's been doing this a very long time out of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. This is Kerry Hitt in the 19 in his Corvette, running back in 11th spot now as he attacks the S's. Make his way toward a couple of the TA3 machines. Doug Peterson up ahead. Peterson's got Hitt a lap down at this point. Back on board with Kerry Hitt, heading to this 90-degree or more right-hander that dumps you onto the backstretch here at Road Atlanta.
Yeah, it's a very fun section there. You see it locking up the tire, so pushing very hard right there.
Meantime, we check in with the 66, Denny Lamers, and his Mustang coming up the backstretch here. Beautiful car, those new Mustangs with their brand new composite bodywork a couple of seasons ago. Let's move back to TA3. Ernie Francis Jr., Todd Napierowski with a good battle going as we watch Lamers come toward the final couple of corners here at Road Atlanta.
Setting to come up the hill. This is the section we talked about that takes your breath away. Doesn't matter which category you're in. This is a very tricky part of the racetrack. A lot of fun. It's one of those areas that challenge you. You can be brave and make up speed. And in racing, those corners are always daunting because you know that your right foot is your limiting factor. So, you know, those are fun corners as a driver. But when you do lap after lap, you get confident. You start pushing it more and more. And you can see not a lot of runoff here at Road Atlanta. So you pay for mistakes.
John Bauckham here in the 86. Bauckham with the top 5 run going. This Ford Mustang out of Charlotte, North Carolina. We saw Doug Peterson a moment ago in the 3-dimensional services group 87. Doug, the former series champ, defending series champion, as a matter of fact, has gotten himself up to 3rd here today, but has been unable to chip away at either Amy Ruman's lead or Paul Fix's margin in 2nd spot. There's the car out of Ontario, Canada. We talked about earlier, trouble on pit road for Alan Lewis. They took the hood off that car, and he's back out on the racetrack. There's David Pintarek in the 57, that Kreider Racing Chevrolet. Done a very nice job here today, but Amy Ruman out for a Saturday afternoon stroll, it appears, at Road Atlanta. Welcome back to Road Atlanta, coverage of Trans Am, America's road racing series on the CBS Sports Network. Alongside Michael McDowell, I'm Rick Benjamin. Shay Adam with our coverage on pit road. Ernie Francis Jr. in the breathless Chevrolet Camaro. He has dominated TA3 American Muscle today. Looks like he's on his way to a victory here in 2015.
Now, how cool.
Oh, trouble, the 55. Going off course as he comes down the backstretch, getting into the gravel. Looks like he's gotten into the wall as well. Have another look here. We're on board with Todd Napierowski.
And that did not look good. As soon as he got to the brakes here, the car turned hard right. Not sure if there was a failure or tire down, but got on the brakes hard.
Whoa.
Highest speed on this Road Atlanta racetrack. Very fortunate to get that car slowed down before getting into the corner.
Milton Grant in his Marriott Courtyard 55, a Porsche 993 out of Germantown, Tennessee. That was a hard hit. The car stopping in the gravel trap. We stayed green, though, here at Road Atlanta. Oh, and Denny Lamers on the outside working toward the final corner before you hit the backstretch here at Road Atlanta, moving around the 79 car. He was not afraid to put wheels in the grass either.
And the 79 had no idea that that was about to happen. Not expecting somebody to pass you on the outside there. So, you know, that goes back to the speed differential between the classes. That Trans Am car is coming so fast. You look in your mirror, nothing's there. You look in your mirror again, and all of a sudden you got a car coming 20, 30 miles an hour faster. We got a good battle right here.
5th place car of Jason Fichter, the 79. John Bauckham goes sailing by in his Trans Am Mustang. You're on board here with Todd Napierowski, who's running 2nd in TA3 TA3 American Muscle as he comes down the hill. And you see the 55 of Grant. They put out a local yellow after he belted the outside wall there.
Yeah, we got lots of body parts and things sitting out of the racetrack. For me, my own selfish reasons, I like to see a caution here. We get them bunch back up and fight for the lead, but decided to stay green. And I understand, you know, we got fierce racing on the racetrack, and we want to keep that going.
Ty Napierowski in that Camaro in TA3. Lee Saunders, meantime, inheriting the lead when Randy Mueller's gearbox broke. We're hearing from pit road and the BMW, the Zero car. So Saunders at the moment in pretty good shape as the laps wind down. Walking there in the 86, still working on a top 5 run in Trans Am, but he has fallen further and further behind the pace. Amy Ruman has just set sail. Once she cleared Paul Fix, it's been see you later in Trans Am today.
Yeah, she is taken off, that's for sure. And we see John every weekend, always competitive, always in the top 5. Hasn't had that raw speed, the challenge for wins yet, but very consistent. We don't see him make a lot of mistakes, always consistent in the top 5 in the Trans Am Series.
Sitting 4th right now, there's your race leader, the McNichols Company 23 of Amy Ruman out of Ohio. Gunning for her 3rd consecutive Trans Am victory to open up 2015, bidding to become the first woman champion in Trans Am Series history. This series has been going for 50-some years, a couple of breaks in there, but essentially since the middle 60s, coming up on the 50th anniversary season next year. And Amy Ruman would like nothing more than to claim her championship here in 2015. Her dad, Bob, a competitor in this series for a long, long time. Amy took the seat over a couple of years ago and has never looked back.
Yeah, I go back to Amy's interview at Sebring after she won the race there. She said she was coming to get that championship. She was going to take it from Doug Peterson, and she's doing all the things that she needs to do that.
Amy Ruman showing speed, reliability, and very smooth abilities behind the wheel as well as she bids to become the champion here in 2015. Meantime, Tom Ellis in that Mustang, the 51 from Pompano Beach, Florida. Top 10 run going today, goes sailing by Jerry Green in the Porsche. That is a 996 Porsche. Those are just beautiful race cars on this racetrack.
Yeah, really fun to drive. I've had the privilege to take a Porsche around Road Atlanta, and I can't tell you how cool it is to drive a Porsche in general, but at Road Atlanta, a lot of fun.
Jerry, Tom and Jerry on Jerry Green's car. Very cool logos on that machine. Also runs in GT3 Cup with that Porsche. And Jerry Green running TA3 International as part of the Trans Am Championship, America's Road Racing Series. Paul Fix, meantime, holding on to 2nd spot after starting on the pole on the Stop Flex 4 car. We'll be right back at Road Atlanta. Welcome back to Road Atlanta. We're in Brazelton, Georgia for Trans Am, America's Road Racing Series. I'm Rick Benjamin, Michael McDowell alongside the Fometics Trans Am 100. Coming down to its final handful of laps here today. Jim McAleese of the 03 has held station in 7th all day long. He's put a lot of pressure on Simon Gregg in the 59 car, Michael, but hasn't been able to get past him.
And we see this battle really all throughout the day, which is a lot of fun that they're still this close after so many laps. Amy's checked out, but we got a great battle from 5th, 6th, 7th on.
Meantime, Dave Rickey in the 71, the Southeast Guardrail Chevrolet Camaro, has unfortunately gotten into the guardrail.
A lot of damage there. Not sure where exactly that took place, but that's definitely going to end the day.
Rickey running 7th at the time of the incident. Meantime, here's the 4th place runner, Christopher DeSalvo in his Mustang, the 61. He's out of Charlotte, North Carolina. Smooth through turn 1. And Michael, when you're running a TA3 car here and you've got these Trans Am machines, you've got to watch your mirrors all the time too, don't you?
Well, and these TA3 cars are on a very different tire than a Trans Am tire. They're actually on a DOT street tire. So the cars are sliding around. It's a handful by yourself. Then you have these 820, 830 horsepower Trans Am cars whizzing by you on the inside, the outside. You don't even see them coming. You're just minding your own business trying to hold on to the race car. So it's very busy, and it's hard to pay attention to your mirror and look out the windshield.
Amy Ruman has had clean racetrack out of her windshield most of the day, closing in on Kerry Hitt in the 19 to put him another lap down. Labor's there in the 66, had to swing to the inside to get by one of the TA3 cars. Amy Ruman now at that point in the race, Michael McDowell, where she's probably listening and thinking, sure hope nothing goes wrong with this race car.
And she's had such a dominant performance. Like you said, now is when you got to manage it. You start to hear things, you feel the vibrations, you're checking your gauges, making sure that the car's going to make it those last few laps so that you can stand on the podium in victory lane.
As Ruman goes under the bridge, there's Paul Fix, your 2nd place runner in car number 4, closing in on Kerry Hitt's 19 to put him another lap down. Front straightaway is about the gap here between Paul Fix and Amy Ruman. Now Fix really hadn't been part of the story for a while. He's starting to reel in the race leader here in the last couple of laps.
Yeah, he's been quietly back there running 2nd, but he's been able to keep Amy at bay, not too far out. And as you time this traffic, he still has an opportunity to run her down before the end of the race.
A couple of laps to go here today. And you never know. As we have seen, Randy Mueller led the first half of the race in TA3 International, had a gearbox issue in his BMW, had to go behind the wall. A lot of things can happen between now and the checkered flag. Here's Russ Snow in the 20 back on the racetrack, third in points coming in here this weekend in that Chevrolet Corvette out of Eden, North Carolina, but he's off the pace as well, headed toward pit road. Amy Ruman, meantime, on the button here as she works her way through the slower traffic. Headed up the backstretch one more time. Here's Peterson sitting third in the 87 car. Up through the S's.
The brakes are really good. I got good brakes. No power and no turn in. No turn in. Car's gone loose. Car's gone loose. Move the bar if you can. No, I used that about 20 laps ago.
Well, what they were talking about there, you know, Doug was describing the issues having with the car. Obviously, we heard earlier he had some engine issues, but now he's just reporting back to his crew chief, hey, the brakes are good, but I'm having trouble turning in. He's lost the back end. He's loose getting into the corner. So the crew chief says, well, work your bars. And what he's talking about is their suspension has bars inside the race car. So you can go stiff, you can go soft, and you can adjust throughout the race, which is great to have that in your driver's hands. But what Doug said, hey, I've already done that. I'm out of adjustment. I need more.
That's all you can do sometimes. On board with Mel Shaw and his Mustang. Had that electrical problem earlier. Apparently was able to reset the electrics in the car and get it fired back up.
Yeah, very crazy. You know, Mel was sitting off the side of the racetrack for 10 laps, and now he's back at speed out on the racetrack. So whatever that problem was, he was able to fix it from the cockpit and get back out on the racetrack.
Pintarek in the 57, Simon Gregg in the 59. They've been fighting for fifth all day long. It stays the same as we navigate the final few corners here in Brazelton, Georgia. Heading toward the white flag, Amy Ruman looks like she's on track to grab her third consecutive Trans Am victory to start the season. 1 lap to go. White flag being shown, Amy Ruman.
Now, all Amy's thinking about is not making a mistake here. Navigate through that last little bit of lap traffic and bring home this race car so she can get the checkered flag.
Up the hill out of turn 1, headed to the S's one final time this sunny Saturday afternoon. Amy looking to add to her points lead. Dave Ricky's Camaro off to the side there in a safe zone on the grass.
Amy's had such a dominant season. You know, these guys are going to have to step up and get their program. Obviously, this car's been handling very well. You know, the team's got it dialed in, and now she's put the pressure on those guys. Hey, I'm coming to play. I can win these races. You guys are going to have to step up if you want to compete with me.
Simon Gregg, meantime, moving to the inside of Pintarek, fighting for 5th position. That's Tom Ellis up ahead of the 51. Contact there. Simon Gregg has to get out of the gas.
Beating and banging on the last lap for 5th place. You got to love this. Great battle right here.
Pintarek up over the crest of that hill, a little move to the right to set up for this corner. Simon Gregg on the outside trying to outbrake the 57. He's got him.
There's still 2 corners to go here. These guys have been going back and forth. Very fun.
Amy Ruman, meantime, headed to the checkered flag. She just needs to stay safe the last couple of corners here behind the 0-3. Ruman will come home your winner out of the final corner, her 3rd consecutive Trans Am victory. To begin 2015, she wins the Fometics Trans Am 100 here at Road Atlanta. What a dominant performance for Amy Ruman. Paul Fix led the first handful of laps. He went off course, Amy got by, and that was it.
Yeah, and we saw Amy, like you said, dominate this race, but it's hard to dominate a race, and for her to lead that many laps and have such a commanding lead throughout the race just shows how tuned up they are and how performance she is really dialed in right now.
On board with Lee Saunders in the Dodge Viper, leading TA3 International after Mueller went out with the broken gearbox. Saunders looks as though he's on his way to his 2nd win of 2015.
It would have been great to see this battle play out. Obviously, Mueller with the transmission problems, but they had a good battle going on up until that point.
Ernie Francis Jr., meantime, in the TA3 American Muscle category. And is the breathless performance Chevrolet Camaro. Young Ernie Francis Jr. uncontested as he comes under the bridge and heads toward the stripe here at Road Atlanta. Ernie Francis Jr. will be your winner in TA3A.
I mean, how cool is it to be 17 years old, racing a Camaro, and going to victory lane? That is such an awesome feeling, and to be so young and having such a dominant performance.
Nicely done for Ernie Francis Jr. And here comes Saunders, headed to the checkered flag and TA3 International. Lee Saunders is your winner here at Road Atlanta. Ernie Francis Jr. wins TA3 American Muscle, and your overall champion today is Amy Ruman in the McNichols Company Chevrolet. When we come back, we'll talk to our winners.
Trans Am Racing on CBS Sports Network is being brought to you by Three Dimensional Services Group, Prototype, Production, Proven, and by Foametics. If it isn't green in color, it isn't Foametics. That's how you know it's Foametics, the Energy Smart Insulation Solution.
Back at Road Atlanta in Brazelton, Georgia, Amy Ruman popping out of her race car after a dominant run today in the Foametics Trans Am 100. Third consecutive victory in Trans Am. Michael McDowell, that's the way you like to win them.
Now that's excitement. You can feel it. You can sense it. Amy's pumped. She just had a dominant race. A lot of fun.
A very ecstatic Amy Ruman dedicating this win to your mom, who's right here.
Unbelievable.
What's this win mean to you? It was hard fought out there.
It was hard fought. It was a hot race. I couldn't be happier with my team, this McNichols crew. Awesome, awesome job. They gave me an awesome car. It lasted the whole race. Once we pressured Paul and got that lead, this one's for my mom on Mother's Day. I couldn't be happier. All the McNichols race fans, number 23 fans out there, my crew, they're just doing an awesome job. We're cleaning up. It's awesome. I can't believe 4 in a row. 3 in a row this year, and season finale, you couldn't be happier. Awesome.
You gonna do it again at Lime Rock?
We're gonna try. Let's keep this streak alive. We're on a hot streak, baby. Woo-woo! Yeah, let me say hi to my niece and nephew, Katie and Bobby. This one's for you too, guys. Love you. Awesome.
Congratulations.
So Amy Ruman is your dominant winner here at Road Atlanta, ahead of Paul Fix and Doug Peterson. John Bauckham with a nice 4th place run today. Simon Gregg does prevail and take home 5th in front of David Pintarek. Mac Elise, Evan, Tom Ellis in the 51, and Kerry Hitt in the 19. The rest of your top 10 in Trans Am. Denny Labors finishes 11th today. Let's go back down to Shea and meet another one of our winners today.
Ernie Francis Jr. finally has what he's been searching for all year, a win. Ernie, how did you earn it out there on the track?
Man, we were just trying to run consistent race out there, and with all the traffic, it was difficult with the TA guys going by us, and I had some traffic with the TA3 I cars, but I actually was able to get past all the TA3 I cars, and we ended up getting the win overall in TA3, so it feels pretty good to get our first win here in front of all the Drift fans, so it feels pretty good.
Ernie Francis Jr. with a very strong run. Michael McDowell, Camaro, beating the Viper and some of these other international cars, Corvettes. That's a pretty good run today for him.
Yeah, you can hear Ernie had a race inside the race. He didn't just want to win TA3A. He wanted to beat all the guys in the international class, too.
Nicely done for Ernie Francis, ahead of Todd Napierowski. Lee Saunders is our winner in that Dodge Viper in TA3 International in front of Berkeley and Green, Sawinski and Guttleber, Milton Grant. Russ Snow had problems today. Randy Mueller led early and then broke a gearbox. Let's talk to Lee Saunders.
Lee Saunders, 2nd win on the season. You've got your good luck charm on your arm. Is he the secret to getting all these wins?
Austin is the secret. So he loves race cars, loves being here with us, and I love having him here, especially since Mother's Day tomorrow. We had a great time. I just can't believe we got through it. It was a crazy race. We had a little bumping and banging with the other TA3 car, but came through unscathed, and luckily we got a little lucky with Russ going out. I don't know if we'd have caught him or not without it, but in the end we won, and I'm so excited I don't know what to say. It was a fantastic day, and I want to thank my crew, Kevin Smith, KSR Racing, Jamie Kwiatek that comes, and my beautiful wife for letting me do this.
Always have to have mama's support if you're going to go to the racetrack and do well. The chase for the Trigon Trophy in Trans Am. This is the season championship award. Amy Ruman with a 21-point advantage over Paul Fix after 3 rounds.
Man, she's been so dominant. These guys are really going to have to step up. And Amy's actually just got to be consistent to keep that lead.
Todd Napierowski leading TA3 American Muscle. Ernie Francis, today's winner, just 5 markers back. Napierowski will have his hands full, I think. Ernie Francis Jr. wants to repeat in that category. In TA3 International, Saunders is the championship leader by 20 now over Jerry Green.
Yeah, and there's a great battle in all these championships, and we're so early on in the season that there's no runaway winners.
Coming up, coverage of the TA2 event, the Foametics Muscle Muscle Car Challenger at Road Atlanta. We'll be back with you at Lime Rock Park in a couple of weeks as well. For Michael McDowell and Cheyenne, I'm Rick Benjamin, congratulating our winners today and our overall champion, Amy Roman. Thanks for watching Trans Am on the CBS Sports Network.